Hello, and welcome to the Toledo According to podcast. I'm Riley Runnells, editor of the Toledo City Paper, and I will be interviewing some of Toledo's most influential and impactful residents as they walk us through what Toledo means to them. Every episode will feature a new guest talking about their favorite Toledo attractions, businesses, restaurants, and experiences, with the hope of our audience learning more about the guest and finding more gems of Toledo. All right, I'm here with Steve Taylor. It's so nice to have you on the show.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
Give our listeners a little rundown about you. Obviously, you have a very recognizable name in the area, but tell them, how long you've been in Toledo, what you do here, and then your short story.
Sure. So I was born and raised here in Toledo, Ohio. Went to St. John's Jesuit High School, and then went to Wittenberg University, where I met my wife there, actually the first day of school. We dated off and on through college, but then she actually came back. She was worked at TPS for a number of years. We've got 3 kids. My oldest just graduated high school, and then I've got a son and a daughter. So I love Toledo. I think it's a great place to raise a family. I love the area. There's all sorts of fun things to do around here, and obviously, we're committed with our businesses. We've got 7 dealerships in Northwest Ohio. We're in Sylvania, we're in Perrysburg, we're in Findlay, and we're in Lima. So we're sort of all over Northwest Ohio. And it's funny, my dad started the company in 1979 with a Buick dealership downtown Toledo, and then added the Cadillac franchise in 88. I got in the car business full-time in 98 with Kia. And back then, I said it was pretty difficult. Most people didn't know what Kia was, other than it stood for Killed in Action. So you could imagine the disgruntled vets that I had back then that were like, "What are you selling this car that stands for KIA, Killed in Action?" Right. Kia started more on the West Coast and down in Florida and matriculated to the Midwest. So we were one of the first dealers really in 98 to have the franchise. We had 2 models, the Sophia and the Sportage. Luckily, we didn't sell many of them because back then they were not the greatest vehicles. They had lots of issues, wire and harness issues, hub issues, things like that. But then they joined teams with Hyundai, and in about 2001 is when they came out with their warranty, their 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. And that's when we saw the quality really just shoot right up there. And, we started, though, in, no joke, it was an old Chinese restaurant. We were off Central Avenue, sort of down in the valley. It was Hing Mi Chop Suey, for anybody that remembers that Chinese restaurant. And we were sort of the laughing stock of Central Avenue. We had a gravel lot. We had no lot lights, and we had this car that nobody had ever heard of. But we had some pretty big goals, and we said, hey, this is a great vehicle, especially we say, why buy used when you could buy new, and it had this great warranty. And we had a goal to say, what if we could be the number 1 dealer in the city of Toledo? And we had a great team, set some lofty goals, like I said, and we accomplished that goal. And it was funny because back then the paper ran an article about Kia outsells Jeep in their own backyard. Didn't make a lot of friends with that one too, but that really started putting us on the map. And we said, what if we could become the number 1 Kia dealer in Ohio, and then the 17-state central region? And then we said, geez, what if we could become the number 1 Kia dealership in the United States? Right. And that was back in like 06, 07, 08. And so that helped. Our volume was great for Kia back then, and that really helped put us on the map with other brands. Hyundai came to us and said, "Hey, we'd love for you to be the Hyundai dealer in Perrysburg." And then Kia said, "We want you to be a Kia dealer in Findlay and Lima." So we were able to grow fairly quickly. Yeah. And what was great was we had all these amazing, talented employees that were able to help grow with us. Yeah. And we've got a ton of people that have been with us for 20 plus years. Well, even longer than that. Since my dad started the company in 79, there's still some people around that have been here as long as he has.
I love it.
Which is great. Yeah. So it's been a fun journey, and we're happy to be here.
That's awesome. Yeah. I love it so much. And obviously, the impact that you guys have had, it's carrying through generations, and it's so awesome to see. And, since you are a born and raised Toledoan, I think I'm more excited to ask you some of these questions because you've been here, you've done all the things. So let's jump right into it. All right. What is the place in Toledo that you are the most proud of?
Wow.
I know, starting you off with a hard ball.
That's a hard one. That's difficult. You're throwing me a hard one right off the rip. I think we're known for so many things. Our metro parks are fantastic. Yeah. Our museum is top notch, and the zoo. I mean, that when you think about Toledo and all that we have to offer, I think those are probably the top 3. And I think the University of Toledo is a great school that doesn't get enough credit from people that live here. Yeah. My daughter, like I said, just graduated from Perrysburg. She'll be attending University of Toledo next year. She's excited. I'm excited for her to, be close to home. But I think, we've got these great things that people around outside of the area know us for. And all of us that live here sometimes take those things for granted.
Yeah.
So I don't know which one of those four, but I'd say it'd have to be one of those four. And I might say the zoo because I remember taking my kids to the zoo all the time when they were younger. And they still love to go.
I love that.
Yeah.
And tell me the best meal that you've ever had in Toledo and where it was from.
Wow. I wish you would have prepped me for these ahead of time because I've had so many great meals. I think I'd have to go back, though, to the Mancy's Steakhouse.
Yeah.
It's a staple. We love going there. My wife and I have spent a lot of anniversary dinners there. We've taken family there for Christmas. It's just, I think it's a part of Toledo.
Yeah.
It's part of the history, and the Mancy's have done a great job growing their restaurants also. But I think you can't beat a Mancy's steak.
Well, and they're another family business that has carried through to new generations too, which I think is so awesome.
Yep,
and I love
sure.
that is a big part of our community here.
Yep.
So tell me what your favorite annual event is in Toledo.
Well, it's not really annual, but it's almost become annual. I'm a huge fan of the Mud Hens, and I love opening day.
Yeah.
Opening day, the festivities downtown, it's just crazy.
Can't beat them.
But I'm actually a bigger hockey fan, and I would say that the Walleye playoff games, and they've been doing so well recently that it has become annual. But I would say just the atmosphere and the energy, and there's nothing like playoff hockey. Like it's so exciting, it's so much fun. So I would definitely say I love going down to the playoff games. I love walleye games in general, but the playoff games is just another level.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I love the fan engagement with the walleye.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
Yep, they do a great job.
Tell me a business that Toledo needs but doesn't have.
Wow. Boy, a business that Toledo needs but doesn't have. Wow. Let me think about that one for a second. Let me come back to you on that one.
Yeah, think about it. Let it ruminate.
I will.
Tell me what street that you drive or walk on most often.
Well, living here in Perrysburg, I am on Front Street a lot. Downtown, I love walking. I walk my dog at night. I go downtown. I have a sort of a big loop. So Front, Louisiana, Boundary. There's a loop that I'm on all the time.
Love it. Me too. I also am a Perrysburg resident, so I love it. Tell me one of the best times you've ever had in Toledo and what you were doing.
Oh, man, there have been great times. Like I said, at the Walleye game, the Mud Hens game, I remember going with a group of my friends to a Jason Aldean concert at the Huntington Center. And we had our trolley out. We loaded it up with a bunch of guys. And that was such a fun night because after the concert, we went to a bunch of the bars downtown. And it was just, downtown was lively and packed. And there were a bunch of people everywhere. It was a gorgeous night. And so everyone was out walking around. It was really fun.
I love that. That's so nice. They do a great job with those concerts.
They do.
At the
I love the
Huntington
concerts.
Center.
Yep.
Is there anything that you've always wanted to do in Toledo but you haven't had the chance to do yet?
So I've heard, and this might be pretty funny, I don't even know if they still have it, but I heard downtown on the river they used to have where you could try your luck at docking a freighter. And I don't know if it was like with the Great Lakes Museum or like there was something, I think my dad did it years ago, where it was like a simulator. And I think that would be pretty neat because you have all these, boats coming in and out, over the river and going into like the elevators and whatnot, going out to the lake. And I think that would be pretty neat because, something you don't think about, but we've got this great port, and we're, so close to the lake. I think that'd be pretty neat.
Yeah, I love that. Is there anything about Toledo that you would change if you could?
I think the biggest thing when you talk to some folks about Toledo, you hear about the brain drain. And I think that is not true at all. I think there's so many great people that are staying in Toledo.
Explain the brain drain for our listeners.
Well, they talk about a lot of people that they grow up here, they go to high school here, they leave for college, and they don't come back. And so a lot of the talented up-and-coming professionals go elsewhere. They don't come back to Toledo. And I don't think that's true. I think there's a lot of people that have gone off and maybe, tried their luck at something elsewhere, and they come back to Toledo. I think Toledo has so much to offer. Obviously there's a slogan, "You'll do better in Toledo." It's sort of a meme, and it's gotten some bad raps on certain things. The things don't go well in Toledo, but like I said earlier, it's a great place to raise a family. I think the cost of living, you look at some of these other cities or around the country, and you get sort of blown out of the water when you're like, how much are they paying for rent, or this costs that much? But it's like all the things we have to offer too. There's always something going on. There's it seems like there was a concert at the zoo I think it was Robert Plant and Alison Krauss.
Alison Krauss, yeah.
And I did not go. I wish I had tickets. I had some friends that went. They said it was amazing. It was a gorgeous night. But I mean, there's always something to do in the area, and I think people take it for granted.
For sure,
yep.
Absolutely. And you mentioned our slogan, "You can do better in Toledo."
Yep.
Tell me, if Toledo had a new slogan, what would you make it?
Wow. Well, geez, I'll have to think about that one. What came to my mind is "This is home," and I'm like, wait a minute, I think that's already 13 ABC. That's their slogan, so I don't think we can use that one. They ran that campaign for a while, but I don't know. Let me think about that one.
Yeah, think about it. We can come back to it. If you knew you could get away with it, is there anything that you would do? This one's a little more broad of a question.
So here we go. This is you probably have never got this answer before, but I think it would be crazy. So I like the Maumee River. I love to fish, but I would take my boat on the river. Like, I have a pontoon boat with the kids, tubing and all that. But in the wintertime, it's so pretty when it's iced over.
Yeah.
But I don't trust that ice. And I heard a story one time of somebody that walked down the river toward to the Hollywood Casino.
Oh, wow.
And I thought, oh my gosh, that's like a death sentence.
Yeah.
With the water running under there. And I'm like, I would never trust that river. But I think it would be really cool to walk down the river to the casino, especially on a snowy night when the river's frozen over.
Right.
But I don't know what my chances would be. So if I could get away with it,
so yeah,
I would do it. Right? I would do it. Yep, there we go.
What do you think the best view in Toledo is?
There is not the sunsets from down in Perrysburg, looking toward Maumee, especially like even last night, for instance, it was a pink and purple sky, like it was gorgeous. I love the sunsets over the river. I think it's something that it never gets old. I love that view.
I love it. And when you're away from Toledo, what can't you wait to have when you get back?
Wow. I would say my friends. If I'm away with my family, I would come back. If they're with me, if not, I would say my family. But I've got a lot of really good friends that we grew up together. Like I said, I went to St. John's. There is a group of us that all graduated from St. John's together. Some actually went to St. John's, but they weren't in the same class. But we all have stayed friends, I think my daughter just graduated this year, and I said I graduated 30 years ago.
Wow.
And there's a group of us, we were just up north golfing together. We see each other all the time. And there's maybe 12 or 16 of us that we talk all the time. Some still live in the area, some live outside the area, but I think when I come back home, I love to get together with my friends.
Yeah.
That's a big part of it. So.
That's so nice. Yep. I love that.
Yep.
And obviously, other than any of the dealerships, what Toledo business are we most likely to find you at?
Tony Pacos.
Absolutely.
I said that one pretty quick. My son loves Tony Pacos too. I think it's great. They've got great food. It's nostalgic. So yeah,
sure.
Maybe Tony Pacos.
And then tell me what you think the most underrated thing is in Toledo and the most overrated thing is in Toledo.
The most underrated thing. I touched on it earlier, but I think it's our metro parks.
Yeah.
There's so many great places to go, and during COVID, my family and I really explored them. Mm-hmm. It was fun. We're looking for things to do and get out of the house, and we drove to a bunch of the metro parks and took our dogs out and went for walks. I know we had bikes and went to different areas, but there were so many amazing places that I don't think most of us really know about or spend any time at. So
absolutely,
I think that's probably the most underrated in the area. The most overrated. I don't know. I don't know what would be considered overrated.
I know, right? I feel
Yeah.
like everything is pretty well appreciated.
Yeah.
Or not appreciated
Or
enough.
not enough. Yeah, I don't know if there is anything that's just overrated. Let me think about that one too. I'm gonna have to come back with you with some of these answers.
I was going to say, so let me take it back to the business that Toledo needs but doesn't have.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like, I'm trying to think of things I've enjoyed in other cities. One thing that I know we've talked about here, and it's been a topic of conversation, and then it's fizzled out, is amphitheater, a place for outdoor entertainment, outdoor concerts. They talked about it out at Fallen Timbers. They've talked about it downtown. I think if we had some place that offered more of a outdoor entertainment, I could sit and listen to music outside all night long. I love it, whether it's just acoustic or it's an outdoor concert. Like the zoo is great for concerts. I really enjoy it, but it might be neat too to have another big amphitheater. That maybe has more parking and just maybe it might be different. So I was excited when they started talking about the amphitheater. So
yeah, for sure.
That might be something that would be pretty neat.
Yeah, that's a great answer. I love that. And then coming back to the other one, Toledo's new slogan.
I want to see you in Toledo.
Nice.
I don't know. You're putting me on the spot.
I was hoping you'd make a joke. I love it. That's perfect. See, you're great. You don't even need to think about it. And then finally, there's one last question. Who is the Toledoan that you most admire?
So, it's funny. We have never really gotten into politics. When I say we, I mean my dad and I. He's been, doing this since 1979. And there's been a few people that he's supported, but it seems like today it's so black and white. It's so divided that we've always said, hey, we're just going to sort of stay back because I think it can be controversial. But I think there was a local person who got into politics that did a really good job. I think it was Mike Bell. And he was obviously in the fire chief. He did so much for the city, and then he ran as independent. Right. And I think he did some good things for the city, and I think he still continues to promote the city. Obviously University of Toledo, playing football, but you see him out and about, and he's still on boards. He's giving back. I think he's done a great job, and he really does have the city's best interest in mind.
Yeah.
I think he's done a phenomenal job. I might brag a little bit on a couple people that we have on our staff, Tom Cole and Terry Crosby, who are two of our community outreach coordinators. And those guys, same thing. They live and breathe Toledo. Every single day they're out there trying to find ways to give back and get involved with the city. They're both Hall of Fame members and so well known in the community. And what they try to do all the time is just give back. And so I think those are the people that I think really help make the city what it is. And I think we're sort of there are more people that want this city to do great things than maybe people give it credit for.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that do a lot of good things behind the scenes too. So we're lucky in that aspect.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to tell us your Toledo favorites. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on the show. Can't wait to hear it.
Thank you for listening to the Toledo According to podcast. Make sure to check out Toledo City Paper in print and online, as well as all of the publications under Adams Street Publishing, including Mature Living, Toledo Area Parent, Ann Arbor Family, Current, and Findlay Living. Find us on social media or connect with us if you have any story ideas to share.